What's going on, all you wild demons out there? It's your two favorite exorcists back here for Cinephellas. I am Logan Myers. It's my good mate over there.
And I'm the Pope's exorcist. I'm Russell Crowe. Back, you demons, or I'll get on my Vespa. We are here and we are back for the 31 days of horror. We've been having a blast all month long, all 2 months long, really. We started back in September, preparing, planning, thinking about what we were going to shoot. And, this Exorcist Believer, we've, heard a lot of buzz about this. We've known it's going to be coming out for a long time, had our reservations about it. But yes, we are reviewing David Gordon Green's The Exorcist Believer.
Yes, that's right. We've been anxiously awaiting this film, probably one of the most anticipated horror films of the year, especially in October. But, the original Exorcist, we hold it dear to our heart. We just reviewed Part 3, which is an excellent sequel with Brad Dourif in that movie. But this is, David Gordon Green taking the helm here. This is setting out for a trilogy. This is Exorcist Believer. Kind of what they're doing with a lot of horror films at Scream and Halloween, bringing back legacy characters, kind of a cash grab and not really adding much juice to that character they're returning. So essentially the setup is two girls disappear into the woods and they're found a few days later. When they return, they start acting really unusual.
Much like the original film, it starts in another country with the ancient Egypt from the first one or wherever that was, where they're digging up the artifacts. Much like that film, they start off this film in Haiti, where Leslie Odom Jr.'s wife is pregnant there. They're there on vacation, and then this catastrophe happens. I think it's an earthquake that happens there. All the buildings start to collapse, and he has to choose between his wife's life and the unborn child. So, he obviously very hard choice to make for anybody, who's going to get to live there. But, the child lives on, and it obviously took something back from that event. That's what they're going for in this trilogy. It's obviously going to go back to what happened the very beginning. So she brought back something with her, obviously. In that film. This film, it's a really long setup to get to anything involving, possession or anything resembling the original film. That's one of my biggest gripes. You don't wait 45 minutes to have a scare in an Exorcist film. You just don't do that. So it's a really long setup. It's, basically the first hour of the movie. It's a slow buildup. And, when we finally do find out where the kids have been, we find out that they're out in the woods for a while, and they find them in the basement of this place. And obviously, it's been 3 days. Neither of them have any recollection of what happened or how much time has passed. The parents are traumatized. It's really caused an uproar in the community. It's gotten everybody really, anxious. And this movie also involves the church a lot too, and faith. And, Leslie Odom Jr.'s character, going through a crisis of faith after what happened to his wife, and having to raise his daughter now, and not really fully believing in Christ anymore or anything like that. So it's very faith-based. And when the kids are possessed, it brings them into the church. And that's about the most memorable scene from the movie, is when the girl's in the church and she starts saying, "The body and the blood, the body and the blood.
The body's at the floor." I was waiting for like a new metal song to come out after that scene.
Exactly.
Yeah, but definitely one of the very few, memorable and great scenes in this movie. I mean, the kids are definitely spooky looking.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the practical effects works on the two little girls behind me that go missing. I thought that was really well done, but just not as scary, as Reagan's character, Linda Blair's character, and definitely didn't have the foul mouth, which I missed from the first movie, which has really always stood out to me. I'm like a dirty sailor talking in there. And, the kids don't really go that extreme, but, it's pretty terrifying at some moments. But overall, it just didn't have this traumatizing scenes like the original film has. There was nothing really like that. I wasn't really scared watching this movie.
It doesn't have the scares. If you have an Exorcist movie, you're going to do a remake. Bring the scares, at least in David Gordon Green's first Halloween, the new trilogy. At least that one brought back Michael Myers, made him a badass. It provided that. It got some great kills. In this one, we don't get any head spinning. We don't get the foul mouth, demons in this. We just kind of get the practical effects, like you mentioned, are great, but the kids aren't as memorable and chilling as what Linda Blair did with her possessed character and her, quoting the Bible, being possessed. It never really felt like, these kids were truly possessed and didn't get under your skin. It never got under my skin like the first movie did. It didn't have that it factor that William Friedkin brought to the original Exorcist. And if you're going to reboot a trilogy, it's going to, no matter what's going to happen, it's going to get compared to the original. So you got to bring the scares. And David Gordon Green, instead, he brought like a social message about community and trauma again, like we saw with the Halloween reboot. It's kind of like he brought over that same kind of vibe to this, brought over some legacy characters, some we know, and, a surprise or two along the way. But overall, it just didn't have it. This movie didn't have the scares, and it didn't bring, a great new horror film like we were hoping for. The thing that it did have was the effects were great. The kids looked good. There was like a bad CGI scene when there's, the vomiting scene. It looked like CGI. So they should have went practical on that. And another thing I was missing was the theme song that everybody knows. It would have been cool to hear that again, and would have upped the creepiness factor in it.
Well, they had an iteration of it. It's a more modernized version of the classic Exorcist song, but it didn't work. It's still added nothing to this movie. Not really much going on. I thought Chris MacNeil was completely underutilized in this movie. She just kind of shows up to help Leslie Odom Jr.'s character, Victor, dealing with his daughter and trying to figure out how to get her exorcise, get the demons out. So he's really reaching out and investigating, and comes across Chris MacNeil and, her battle with this evil the past 50 years that happened with Reagan. So, she shows up to help, and it just a lot of plot holes, a lot of stupidness. And a lot of that has to do with a lot of just really bad writing. I think not, David Gordon Green's not the biggest problem. It's a lot of the writing on this is just stupid.
I agree. Yeah, some major plot holes. And with Chris MacNeil's character going through this before, she should have known not to get, right up next to it and right in the demon's face, and what was going to happen. That scene was, it was way too soon too. We didn't even get Chris MacNeil's character established for this one, or get any insight into how she could help this, family struggling and what she could do to help. It was just kind of, here she is, and we're going to relegate her to the background right away. Misfire this Halloween season, unfortunately. I read today that they are going to move forward with the trilogy, but David Gordon Green most likely not coming back. He's already been saying a few things the past couple of days that he's going to be moving on to some other things. So it will be interesting to see who Universal will bring in to, helm the last couple installments. Hopefully somebody with some horror experience. I know you had a couple suggestions.
Yeah, the director that did Mandy, and then Robert Eggers. I thought he's already dived into religion, with his past few films, and I think he would bring a really great vibe and direction in the next two films if they want to do a trilogy, which I hope they don't.
Yeah, it just doesn't need it at this point, but I read that they're already kind of invested in it, and it's probably going to happen. So let's hope the next one at least ups the scare factor. You should be terrified, at least in some of the parts, and with the kids and stuff, it needs to be more unsettling, and you need to have some of the, bring back some of the classic, head twirling around, walking, up on the ceiling, backwards on the stairs, bring back something like that like really stands out, not just the possessed girl in church screaming the body and the blood, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, we didn't have her, masturbating with a crucifix or saying your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah, exactly. Something crazy. It's memorable.
Just way out there. Yeah. So that being said, didn't really have a good time with Exorcist Believer. I was really hoping it'd be great since we're, huge fans of the first and third film. And this one really did suck. Don't waste your time in the movie theater. You can check this out at home when it's streaming. And mess of a movie. So that being said, I'm giving The Exorcist Believer, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 Reagan hairpieces.
Exactly my score too. I'm going to give The Exorcist Believer from Uncle David Gordon Green a 2 out of 5 Linda Blair hairpieces.
So I want to hear from all you possessed demons out there. What did you like about Exorcist Believer? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out these wild ghouls on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews.
That's right. And we're going to be back very soon for another installment of the 31 Days of Horror. we're having a blast, and we thank you guys for tuning in and for commenting and following along with us all month long here. And we're going to have a very special Halloween episode, of course, as we always do every year for the 31 Days of Horror. So plenty more goodness to come, and a great fellas giveaway that we're about to announce here. That's a little related to this video. So stay tuned.
That's right. These two wild, crazy Catholic priests are signing out until the next movie review for 31 Days of Horror.
Yes.